So, welcome to my three social identities, Module 3 discussion for diversity and oppression. My name is Michaela, and I'm going to be talking about my identity box, and I feel like the three things that make up my social identity and how I feel people perceive them. The three things that I feel that make up my day-to-day identity and how people perceive it are my occupation, which is U.S. military, and for race, I chose the Starbucks icon because that is something typically, very commonly, that is viewed as a stereotypical white drink, things white people do, and I think it's kind of represents a very wrong stereotype, but also misunderstood at the same time. So how I think people view my race, my identity with Starbucks, because Starbucks is something I drink every day. People think that if you can drink Starbucks every day as much as I do, or just drink Starbucks at all, you probably got money, you're rich, and that's not the case at all. I feel like a lot of people view Starbucks as a stereotypically white drink because of the areas it comes from, how it's in predominantly white areas, such as Seattle, Portland, where it's like heavily populated and very popular. But there are a lot of cultures in that area that enjoy Starbucks, not just white people. And people also view white people as more commonly rich, have money, and everybody knows, or at least everybody should know, that that's not true. You can't be white and automatically be rich. Just like you can't be black and automatically be poor. That's not a thing, that's just a stereotype. So what I think how people view my occupation is the military, is that I love guns and I have a lot of money. It's a misinterpretation that people in the military have a lot of money. Oh, the government's paying for this, the government's paying for that, and that's not true at all. There are some people in the military who do well for themselves, but there are also a lot of people in the military who don't do well for themselves. It's just, there's a lot of factors that go into it, and also in the individual as well. And also, not everybody in the military likes guns. A lot of people join the military out of necessity because they couldn't afford to go to school. They needed a way to get out of their hometown, and they saw the military as the easiest way. It's just a lot of people assume that just because you're in the military, you have money, and that's not a thing. I don't have a lot of money. I don't like guns. It's just part of my job. Is just something I do. And then this one, a lot of people see that as indecisive. You don't know what you want, you can't make decisions for yourself, so you get to have your cake and eat it too. And I feel like that causes a lot of toxicity amongst people in LGBT, people who are heterosexual. There's a lot of misunderstandings, and that's not true. It's like ice cream. You can like vanilla and you can like chocolate, or you could just like one or just the other, or more than those two. It's this very simple analogy and metaphor, but it's as simple as that. People still find ways to misinterpret it and twist around the actual meaning of things. So I feel like these facets of my identity affect my day-to-day life. Maybe not every second of every day, maybe not every day, but overall every day to an extent. So I feel like my race affects how people view me, how people talk to me, how people make judgments on my accomplishments, the things I do, the things I want to do. They just come to these conclusions on their own because of how I look, my culture, and that's not true, and then people also, view my occupation as military. There's more to me than the military, but a lot of people who meet me, and that's one of the first things they learn about me, that's just all they assume. That's all they know about me, is that I'm in the military. And how the military has a lot to do with today's, I want to say, political climate, and it's just there's a lot that people don't understand. There's a lot I don't understand, and I feel like there's a lot of people making judgments and assumptions and not asking questions and or not willing to answer to people trying to explain it to them and help them understand. There's a lot the military does that people don't agree with, so they think that maybe me personally, I agree with those things that the military is doing, and I'm not the person making the decision. I'm just the person following orders, and unfortunately, it's not my job to have an opinion. It's just my job to do what I'm told. And to an extent, I have control over what I do and I don't do. But at the end of the day, if they tell me to go do this, it just is what it is. It could be as simple as, go organize this, go organize that. Or it could be something a little more complicated. It just, people think it's outright about guns and shooting people and war. And the military is more than just war. There's a lot of things that go into the military that is not just, invading Iraq and Afghanistan and places like that. There's a lot more that goes into play. And, my job has nothing to do with guns and my MOS. It's more administrative. And not everybody knows that the military has things like that. I didn't know until I joined. So I just feel like that's something that people need to be able to listen to and understand. I feel like people view me a certain way when they see these things, and they come to this first impression in their head when that's not necessarily the correct one. What I've learned about myself and how my identities affect how I feel, how I react to certain things is that, I need to check my privilege. As someone who is white, there's a lot of privileges I have that I'm benefiting from people who came before me. And this is not an intentional benefit, but it's just something I need to be aware of. And also, I feel like because I was raised predominantly white, that's just environment I am more comfortable in because that is what I'm used to. That doesn't mean I don't like other cultures or anything like that. It just means that's just all I know. And as someone like me who is comfortable in a particular environment, I need to be able to step out of that box, understand that different ways aren't bad. They're just a different way of doing things, a different way of thinking, a different way of life. And the ways these intersect is my race affects how people view me, also affects how I was raised to an extent, and how I was raised affects how I, react to certain things, how I accept certain things and understand different things. Also affects the different struggles that I go through. So me as someone who's lighter complected, I don't face the typical police violence and profiling that maybe someone who's African American does. That's not a struggle I know, but that's also something I need to become aware of. And they just cross over and develop who I am. So thank you for listening to my discussion.